of golf now. The golf course reopened, which is exciting.
That is good. Well, you can definitely be distant on the golf course, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And they usually do it 10 minutes apart. They're doing it 15 minutes apart.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so you're not even on, like, the first tee hanging out waiting.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Nice course.
Yeah. It's nice. Yeah, we just joined. We just joined a golf club because we're officially old people.
You have to. It's in the contract.
It's in the contract. Exactly. Yes. You turn 50, you have to do that. So I don't know.
We are wondering with my new, um, living stuff, we were talking about my golf clubs, about if I'm gonna even keep my golf clubs or not. Because I golf once a year whether I need to or not, and I'm thinking that at that pace, I might just rent a set of clubs.
Hmm. Yeah, who knows? I wonder if golf will become more popular because it is one of the sports that you can do socially distanced.
That is true. No, that's very true, and golf, as you know, has been struggling, some lately, so that
Yeah.
that might be good for golf as a sport in general. I think everybody's craving sports. I'm wondering last night, by the way, uh, because they were predicting that huge amounts of people were gonna watch the NFL draft just because people are starved. Did Neil watch the NFL draft?
No,
He
I
did
don't
not.
think he was aware of it.
No? Yeah. I wasn't even aware of it until yesterday during the day, and then I did watch it, and I never watch it. I never watch the draft.
We just noticed that Schitt's Creek is on Hulu, the last
Yes.
season. So that's what we were watching.
I gotta tell you what I love about the Hulu ones is that I love the show, the little mini show afterwards where, David Levy, sits with some of the actors and they talk about the making of every episode. Like, I don't know if you
Never
noticed that.
noticed that yet.
What's that?
Check that out. We haven't watched that. I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I'll have to look for it. We've just because it rolls forward into each one.
Yeah. Yeah, you
So
can ours rolled forward into, like, a making of, thing, but you can find it, and it's really neat to as they do the last season's shows, and then at the conclusion of the season, they
yeah.
have, like, a making of the last season. No, 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 I'm just telling you, they have a making of the last season, so you can watch this documentary about them making the last season that's really neat.
Okay. I
So
just find it gets funnier and funnier. Someone said we had trouble getting into it the first season or 2, and we've been trying to watch it for a year maybe, and then we finally got into it recently, and then once you're in, you're in.
it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It is phenomenal to me, and, the last season, I've never had a comedy that made me so emotional, you know?
Mm.
And I don't know how far you are into the last season. You're in the last season,
Just
right?
after 1.5 episodes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You get about halfway done, and they do a really good job of,
Oh, good.
ending it.
So
Yeah.
much to look forward to during this quarantine.
Jam boots, I like this. Maybe they'll add some defense to golf to make it interesting. Could you see having, like, a goalie on the green?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, yeah. I mean, right now I'm just getting to know the sand traps really well. So, yeah.
Yes. But what do you do about the holes where there's the windmill? Do you do things differently with the windmill holes than you do the other holes?
We're at a second tier course, so we don't have windmills. We're not fancy like you, Joe.
Oh, Chris, live in Las Vegas, went to the Paris Tower. I have never seen, by the way, more, not to get into and I don't think it's getting into politics, but I've never seen a weirder interview than an interview with your mayor, Chris.
Oh my goodness.
That
I
was
totally agree.
surreal. Just absolutely surreal. Yeah, so you guys were supposed to have the draft this year and didn't get it, and I don't know if you saw this, Chris, but, you're getting it now in partway through the draft, through the first, round. I watched, Roger Goodell say that you guys are gonna get the draft again like a mulligan you get it in 2022, which was cool. Uh Yeah, corona attainment. Yeah,
Love it.
agree. All right, we ready to talk about mortgages?
Let's do this.
Yeah, this is some let me put the graphic up, guys, and, this is some crazy stuff. All right, I will hit record there. I will hit the backup over here, and this is for Monday, the, April 27th.
New options for homeowners who are feeling the economic pain during the COVID-19 epidemic. But there is a catch you need to know about that and so much more on this episode of Money with Friends. Welcome to the Money with Friends podcast. I am certified financial planner Bobby Rebel, host of the Financial Grown Up podcast, coming to you from Putnam County in upstate New York.
Coming to you from the Mitten State, Detroit, Michigan, where we make the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe Saul-Sehy. Hi.
This is the Money News Show that includes commentary on recent headlines and stories with thought leaders from across the financial landscape. We break those stories down into what matters to you, our friends, and we leave you with a takeaway to make it your own.
Thanks to Joust for supporting Money with Friends. Joust is the nation's only all-inclusive banking platform for the self-employed. PayArmor, which is Joust invoice payment guarantee product, supports the 71% of the gig economy workforce that experiences not getting paid. You can sign up for Joust for free at try.joust.com/MWF. Just enter promo code Money with Friends and you'll get $100 in payment credits. That's try.joust.com/MWF for more. And Bobby, you and I just went from being a partnership working on this to setting up our company, and we use Joust. And like I was telling George Curtica last week, I've never set up a bank account with my thumbs, and it was so easy. It was so incredibly easy to just open up the Joust account. When we were funding it, I had one snafu, but Lance was there within 5 minutes, and bam, we got everything taken care of. So big thanks to Joust.
Yeah, the perfect combination, really, when you can do it with technology, but there are humans involved as well.
Yeah, it's great. Something maybe not as great as it sounds is this idea of being able to have a forbearance on your mortgage. Lots of people talking about and taking advantage of this, by the way, and it is going to help some people. But let's talk about mortgage forbearance, see which one of our friends is going to kick off today's show. Right, this piece comes to us from Forbes. It's written by Tarina Allen. Tarina writes, suspend your mortgage payment and keep your home with COVID-19 forbearance. Tarina writes, if you've lost your job, received a layoff notice, or otherwise struggling to pay your mortgage, it's critical that you reach out to your creditors and mortgage servicer immediately and request assistance. Most lenders, especially mortgage companies, have developed a thoughtful COVID-19 response that includes offering customers a way to suspend their mortgage payments, keep their homes, avoid late fees, and not suffer any negative reporting to the credit bureaus. Most also provide you an option to add the past due payments to the end of your loan instead of having to figure out how to pay back a huge lump sum after 3 or 6 months of payment suspensions. As of today, Johns Hopkins is reporting that approximately 835,316 people, approximately, have tested positive for coronavirus in the United States, and 45,950 people have died from it. The COVID-19 is tragically taking lives and killing jobs. In the past month, it wiped out a decade of job gains, causing 22 million and counting to file unemployment claims. Consequently, many of you are understandably anxious. And when you aren't busy doing all you can do to stay coronavirus free, you might find yourself spending an inordinate amount of time wondering whether you'll even have a job from week to week. Then there's just regular life, your lockdown life that you're impatiently waiting to get back to normal, whatever that will be. Things are dire for millions of people as the public health crisis has created an outright financial crisis. While you work through your unemployment or employment or unemployment struggles, here's an outline of what's available to save your mortgage. Below are options for government-backed loans as well as conventional loans via 3 of the largest private mortgage lenders in the United States. Bobby?
Government backed mortgages. If you have an FHA, VA, or USDA loan, you have a government insured mortgage loan. These loans are backed by the Federal Housing Authority, often referred to as FHA, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, VA, or the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA. It states here that you can also apply if you have a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac loan. The new law, known as the CARES Act, provides mortgage relief protection for those who have government backed loans. As such, immediate help is available if you find yourself struggling to make your mortgage payments. The first thing you need to do is contact your mortgage service provider if you have a government backed loan and find yourself either directly or indirectly impacted by COVID-19, such that you are experiencing a financial hardship. Make this call immediately. All you need to do is explain that you want to apply for the COVID-19 Mortgage Forbearance Program. You will then be instructed how to apply. The best part is that the program stipulates that your mortgage lender will not require you to provide documents. To get started, just call your lender, and then she has links to documents. By the way, you can always get these articles if you want the links on our website, moneywithfriendspodcast.com. Go to the schedule and the date that that this episode came out. And then it goes into conventional mortgages. Even if you don't have a government insured loan, immediately call your mortgage servicer. Due to COVID 19, most major lenders have put together programs to address the pressing needs of customers experiencing a financial hardship during this time. And then it goes into what a few different banks are doing. So, should we take a break there quickly?
Yeah, yeah, actually, I think we can probably if people want more, certainly we'll have it. Yeah, yeah, certainly we'll have it for them. But Bobby, I found this piece to be very helpful and for people that are struggling and need it. But man, it is missing some really key information on the downside that I think people also need to be aware of. And this case is really a case of you can't read one article in the press and form an opinion. You have to have more information. So I thought you and I might want to dive into some of the things missing from here and why you might not want to do a mortgage forbearance.
Well, first of all, the payments don't go away. Now, when they go through these banks that you can that you may have a mortgage with, and they basically, she gives them as examples. And in theory, other banks are doing similar programs. Many of them will tack the extra payments onto the end of your mortgage, but they're not going away. It's not that it's just forgiven. So that's
Right.
obviously the first thing. You did a lot of research on this. You also spoke to our friends at Bigger Pockets, which focuses on real estate.
Yeah, they definitely were much more negative on this than I thought, and that's the big thing is a lot of people think that they don't, have to repay this money, that it's forgiven, like maybe there's been a lot of talk about the PPP, we've talked about it here, where people can take out a loan, but then that loan's forgiven, you don't have to pay it back, ends up becoming a grant. That's not the case here at all, and just because companies can put this at the end of your loan doesn't mean that they will put it at the end of your loan. So you might have, if you take a 3 month forbearance at the end of that 3 months, Bobby, you might have a big balloon payment of extra money that you owe immediately, or you will get foreclosed upon. Banks don't want to do that largely, but it doesn't mean that they can't. So you need to know ahead of time, which also means a lot of people are going to think, well, hey, I'm struggling, so I just get to stop paying my mortgages because of the fact that when it comes to student loans, as you know, that's the way it works, right? Student loan companies have automatically shut off your automatic payments. You will still owe that money, but there's zero interest due. On a forbearance, while no more interest accumulates, at the end of that period, it'll get capitalized on the loan and then it will, interest is going to continue. So uh, big difference with what's happening here with versus student loans versus with companies.
One of the challenges I think for people is that there are so many options to get help if you need it, but they all have different consequences down the road. And it is very complicated. There's a lot of acronyms out there that are flying around, the IEDL or EIDL, the PPP, the CARES, all this stuff. There, different parts of care. Those are all within CARES, and it is complicated. There's different sources to get funding. There's different ways to get help, and I think that people have to be incredibly careful. And we say this all the time, but it's hard to do. Really read all the documents, understand what you're going for. Someone might say, yes, you can pay it at the end of the loan. But if you don't get that in writing and maybe you deal with somebody else, maybe they just don't do that. Even if they said they would, if the document doesn't say that you can pay those, let's say 3 months at the end, you could face it at the beginning.
Yeah. Boy, and there's another big piece that Tarina is just frankly, she's right technically, but this is where more information really helps out. Tarina wrote in this piece that it does not adversely affect your credit. That is completely true. However, get this, Bobby, it does go on your credit report that you took forbearance. And tell me that if you go apply for something in the near future and it shows on your credit report that you had to take forbearance, that won't negatively it's not allowed to impact your score, but you don't think that that's going to be a factor? I think that would hugely be a factor. If I were loaning money to you and I knew that, maybe 3, 4 months ago you had to take forbearance, I probably don't want to loan you money. I might not want to have you as a renter in my house, as an example. I might find other reasons for it, but man, I do not want to take this forbearance if I don't have to, because I really don't want that showing up on my credit report.
Well, that's true with so many of the options that people have during this time period. You have to really think about the short term benefit and the long term impact. I've been getting a lot of questions about how to access cash. And I always say try to access cash in a way that the consequences are going to be short term, not long term. So if you have to, it sounds counterintuitive, but I'd rather have somebody, temporarily carry a credit card balance than start tapping their social security early because that's going to permanently reduce your benefits, or taking, someone asked about reverse mortgages. Well, that's also kind of a permanent situation. So whenever you're finding ways to get cash, try to think of the things that are going to, that you can basically erase any negative impact going forward. It's something that you can pay back. Even if you're paying a higher interest rate than you would like, at least it can be over
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
can move forward and with more of a clean slate.
absolutely. I will say this though. I mean, that's over 6 million people I was reading this morning have taken advantage of this program. Sounds like a big number to me, but there's 330 million people in the United States. You look at the fact that 22 million people are unemployed. Maybe not that big, but I do think there's got to be some people in here that think that this is a free ride, right? And because of that, they're going to go ahead and take advantage of it. But I will say on the other side, man, it is great that you have this opportunity. If I mean, who cares about your credit report? If you can't pay the bills, get that mortgage shut off ASAP so that you have less overhead. You have to talk to your bank though and find out, are they going to tack it on at the end? Is there going to be a balloon payment? Make sure you know which way it works, and you will know upfront, is what I've been told. You will know upfront how it's going to work on the back end, because the CARES Act does not specify how banks have to do this. It
Mhm.
says they have to. It doesn't say how they have to. So you can work with your bank to find out. And even if you don't have one of these government held loans, many banks, and that's what the rest of this piece goes into. And like Bobby said, you can find it on our website. A lot of banks have their own programs that are similar, not the same, but they're similar. They want to work with you. These banks just recently went through the 2007, 2008 crisis. They don't want to do that again. They really want to help you. So hear this correctly. If you think that this is just free money, it's not, and there are negative repercussions. But on the other side, if you really need help, I would do this, Bobby, now. Like, do it very, very, very quickly. Get the mortgage shut off so that you can survive the next few months.
Yes. And we also don't know how programs will change
No, that's true.
forward. This is a very fluid situation, and we don't know how long this will last, and we don't know what programs will be adjusted in more favorable terms and maybe in some not so favorable terms, because this is all very expensive, both for the government and for these businesses, for the banks.
We're doing this live on YouTube. If you want to hang out with us and make the show with us on YouTube, head to youtube.com, put in Money with Friends. And usually on Thursdays or Fridays, Bobby and I are here. You just hit subscribe, hit the little bell, and the bell will give you an alert that we are going live at that time. But JM Boots is here with us and says, what's a better option for the people who have no money in the bank and no money coming in for who knows how long? I don't think there is a better option for those people. For those people specifically, that's who this program is for. Just find out ahead of time when you're going to have to pay this money back. Is it at the end of the loan? That's fantastic. Is it right away? That might be much uglier. But I don't think there is a better option for those people. Certainly, too, by the way, if you're out of a job, JM Boots, you also want to look at the expanded unemployment benefits that you can get as well. And that also includes some of the people in the gig economy now.
Mhm.
So see if you're eligible for expanded unemployment benefits along with this program.
That has an acronym too. That's PUA.
There's so many acronyms.
I know. So
Yeah,
many.
a mutual friend of ours wrote us about the PPP yesterday, and she wrote PPP. Yeah, you know me. Did you get that joke,
Yeah,
by
I
the
did.
way? Yeah, that was pretty good. In just a second, Bobby and I are going to have our big takeaways from this piece, but want to say a big thanks to Joust. I can say Joust, our bank. for helping us with Money with Friends. Thanks to Joust for supporting the show. Ever thought about starting your own business? Well, perhaps you want to begin a side passion project. Maybe you're just trying to get some money flowing in. So you're forced to create a new business. Well, if so, ensuring a steady income is always going to be one of the first things you think about. And it could be the reason, by the way, that you don't start your business, that you don't take the leap. Joust is the nation's only all inclusive banking platform for the self employed. Business making can feel complicated, but Joust makes it super easy. Pay Armor, which is Joust invoice payment guarantee product, supports the 71% of us in the gig economy that has ever suffered from not being paid. You can sign up for Joust for free at try.joust.com/MWF. Enter promo code Money with Friends. You'll get $100 in credits. That's try.joust.com/MWF. And big thanks to them. And I got to say, setting up that account, super easy. I did it with my thumbs, Bobby. It's pretty amazing.
So cool.
Yeah, on my phone. It's I was thinking the whole time I was signing up. I'm like, I can't believe how simple this is. All right, what's our big takeaway from this, Bobby?
Don't hesitate to be proactive and ask your lender about these options. Even if you think you're okay for now, this could go on for a while. So be proactive, learn what your options are, and have a plan to make sure you and your family are secure. Remember, they are stakeholders in your debt, and so they are incentivized to make a plan that works for all parties involved. Just make sure you know what you're signing up for.
Yeah, and on that note, my takeaway is just gonna be an add-on, Bobby, to all the great stuff that you said, because people don't ask enough questions because they feel stupid. This is a time to ask lots and lots and lots of questions. You have to know what the potential downsides are that you're getting into. You want to know, when do I have to pay this back? How long does the forbearance last? What's the implication? How much more money might this cost me on the back end? Know everything, not just one piece like this piece that tells maybe two-thirds of the story, I'd say. You really got to know what you're getting into.
Very well said.
Well, thank you. You too. What's happening? Where can people help us make the show?
People can, well, first of all, I love it when people give us their opinion in our polls and surveys and quizzes on our Instagram channel. That is at Money Friends Pod. You can also get previews of the shows and find out when we are taping, either on Facebook Live or here on YouTube. So just follow us, like I said, at Money Friends Pod on Instagram. That's also our handle on Twitter. And you can get links to the articles and learn more about the show at moneywithfriendspodcast.com. That is our website.
Yeah, big thanks to Ashley, our producer, for helping us put together this and every episode. Big thanks to everybody hanging out with us today on YouTube as we make the show. Thanks to you for listening, and people have left us a review. On behalf of Bobby, I'm Joe. We'll see you. Bobby will see you tomorrow with Julian Saunders from the Plutus award winning Rich and Regular blog. Back here tomorrow at Money with Friends. Bye bye. 1740.
Good.
That's right where we should be, guys. Yes, good stuff. Good show. That was very good. I hope that helps some people
Yeah, I think
because
it's important information for people to, read the documents, which we really don't always do.
I,
Um, so,
I got so frustrated when I saw 6 million people signed up for that. And I'm thinking probably most of them need it based on the unemployment numbers, but there's got to be people just going, wow, all right.
mm,
No mortgage payment. There
yeah,
was a day that was me. You and I were talking about this before we went live, that I'm the idiot back in the early 90s. I signed up for a student loan just so that I could buy a computer so I could play video games. Student loans just to play video games.
a lot of people use student loans for things other than tuition, though. That's not unusual.
Well, living expenses make sense to me, right? Living expenses, even maybe needing transportation in a car. And okay, maybe I get a nicer car using my student loan than I would have gotten if I hadn't gotten it. Um,
But you know
Not
what? No,
great use of money, but
here's the thing. At that time, we didn't have the information that today's students have. Just simply the internet did not exist.
yeah.
Right. When I was in college, the internet, now we're aging ourselves, but the internet did not exist. We did not have the information sources that we did. No, truthfully. So, I mean, you didn't know. There wasn't so much information. Student loans were a relatively new thing because college was just starting to get more expensive and more people were having access to college, which is ultimately a good thing.
Yeah.
That's sort of, it was sort of a good and bad thing that student loans do help more people go to college. So that's a good thing. But we didn't fully understand how they worked and the consequences and how they would impact your young adulthood.
Mhm.
So you were in the same boat as many people, and I think a lot of the people taking out student loans now often do know a lot more about what they're getting into. Some choose to ignore it, but the information is a lot more available now. And I wouldn't say there's no excuse, because I think we as a society do have to educate people, but there's a lot more resources for people to know better now
There
than there
there's
was then.
ton more. Who was I talking about that with the just the other day that we have the power to answer almost every question we have in the palm of our hand, and we use it to watch cat videos. Like we
I
totally
don't. Okay. Yeah.
we totally don't take advantage of this enough. You know what I
No.
mean?
Well, but the kids do. The kids do, you know. I mean, I can't even get my 12-year-old to do anything without saying, "Siri, what is this?" He just everything is just, he just goes to the phone for
But
it.
the number of times I see stuff that people are resharing on Facebook, where if they just did a Google search on their phone,
Mhm.
they would know very quickly that they're spreading stuff that's not nowhere near true.
Yep.
It just drives me crazy.
I'm gonna go inject some disinfectant into my arm to cure myself.
I like how Lysol had to come out and say, "Don't drink our product."
But can we inject it? I'm sorry. Shouldn't go there on this show. We're still on. Okay. Let's
Yes.
say goodbye to everybody before we get ourselves in trouble.
All right, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Are we off? I think we're still